All right, Demots. This may have to be a quicker one, Demots. We are burdened, not burdened, but we are conjoined with a massive itinerary.
A lot
today.
going on today.
A lot going on. We're doing a location meet with a friend of ours, Michael Anthony Montante, in Wakefield, Massachusetts. And if you're on there,
What does he go by in real life? Like Michael?
Yeah.
Or does he doesn't go by Montante around?
I don't know.
Like in reality. I always wonder that about people with like pseudonyms online. Like I assume Menners doesn't go by Menners either.
No, he's like
in his
he's like Ken
life.
Wilson. Like, oh, did you get to hear him yesterday on Kirk?
No, I haven't listened yet.
Ooh, flamethrower. We'll listen to it on the way down. You like it? We gotta.
My work has been. I have had a lot of meetings the last couple of days. It's been highly.
Yeah, I understand. You got a nice mention. You'll hear it, Allison.
God, I'm so glad.
Okay. Wow, look at that. I'm so glad. All right, Alice, I'm going right in. Deep politics. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I call it realpolitik. Have you heard that before?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what it means? Nope, you don't. Do you? I call it realpolitik, Alice.
Okay, how do you define that?
Yes, it's from the French.
German, I think.
No, it is not. It is not, indeed.
I'm going to look up the etymology right now.
Do you know what etymology means?
Mm-hmm. It means the history of where words come from.
It means origins. All right, Alice, here you go. Here's another Libs of TikTok
see.
teacher.
From the German.
Incorrect.
Yeah. System of politics or principles based on the practical rather than moral or ideological considerations. But it's from the German.
Incorrect.
Mm-hmm. What are you looking up? What are you doing over there?
All right, ready?
You can trust me, it's from German.
Let's go right, since it's been way too long. Let's go right to our friends on Libs of TikTok, because I've unearthed another Libs of TikTok teacher. And I think
I've unearthed
another
Libs of TikTok
teacher. Exactly. I found this organically, the same way the Snake Cullinane found the thing on Tony Maz organically before he blew him up like Shirley Lung does. Mm-hmm. Here we go.
So today was our first day back from spring break, and I told all my students that my pronouns are they, them, and that my honorific is mix. A few of my students had some questions, and we were able to talk about those, but I wanted to tell you about two of them.
What is honorifics, Mrs. K? And why is it mix? Is that in the possessive of Mick?
Mm-hmm.
Or is that MX? What is going on with mix?
Mix is like for Mr. or Mrs.
Okay. So,
that's what honorific is.
Okay, so, but what is mix?
That's non-binary.
Okay.
It's a non-binary Mr. or Miss.
Okay.
So, like, instead of being, Miss Shattuck.
Yeah.
Or Mrs. Shattuck, I'd be Mix Shattuck.
Okay.
Because that's not weird at all.
This is important. She came out to her students' house. Shh.
But I wanted to tell you about two of my students that just made my heart sing and made me feel so validated. One of them, she put in the chat, I'm so proud of you. And then one of my other students, maybe like half an hour after we had talked about that, had a question and put in the chat, mix, da-da-da-da-da, here's my question. And it was just so validating to see mix pop up on the screen instead of miss. And I just
imagine needing to feel validated by children.
It was so validating. See it come on the screen. Oh, my goodness. You know, that is in itself a form of abuse.
Yeah.
Using the kids. Tell me things that make me feel good, everybody. Tell me things.
That's literally what predators do. This is why, I mean, I know it makes the left very unhappy when people call this grooming, but that's absolutely what predators do.
Mm-hmm.
Is they look for validation and pleasure and positive feedback from children.
Yeah.
Instead of from other adults or from, their own self-perception and reality. You know, to feel good, I need little kids
Hey,
to call me a
you
special
something.
name.
Is this kind of like getting lots of cats?
I don't know. But
No. In the same way, you'll get a cat like, there's Jerry and Bella and Thorny and Celisa, my cats. Hi, babies, and they're my cat family. Bella, share with Tommy. Bella, is that what this is? Is this a surrogate for a loved one, family?
Well, yeah, I certainly think a lot of the people who are into this stuff like don't feel loved enough or something. But yeah, definitely like a quest for someone to love them and care about them. And, it's very easy to make children love you and that's why predators do this stuff. So,
Right.
And it's easy to make pets love you too.
Yeah.
All you have to do is feed them and they love you back. Right. But
my dog knows if somebody's got a bad soul. She'll growl. She won't like them. I would never date. That's why I always say I'll never date a girl who my dog doesn't like.
Okay, I get it.
I won't.
I had a point though before you went on that tangent that I was gonna make. Oh, but I mean, like, I would even be uncomfortable if a teacher at school asked my kid to call them like their first name or something.
Yeah.
Like the teacher that was arrested in our school district for taking inappropriate pictures of kids, the substitute teacher, the long-term sub, he went by Mr. Kenny, which already, like, yeah, just go by Mr. or Miss or Mrs. your last name. And that's it. That's the way this works. You don't get to pick new special things. You don't get to do your first name. You don't get to tell the kids about your sexuality. You don't get to be friends with them on TikTok. Like, they're not there for you to get something emotional out of them. That's the problem.
Right. By the way, the telltale sign of a pseudo-intellectual, credentialed psycho, guess what's behind her in the picture?
A rainbow flag?
I'll give you a hint. No, pseudo-intellectual, credentialed.
Pseudo-intellectual credentialed.
But flawed still. And like a hot mess still.
I don't know.
I'll give you a hint. Bookcase.
Mm-hmm.
What about the way the books are arranged in the bookcase tells you that...
Are they in rainbow order?
No, they're stacked like this and chaotically. Oh. She's a real big intellectual. She just pours herself into her reading, but life is still crazy and she's a hot mess. But love me, look at my books. See, there's a lot of them. Of course, they're on the side. I don't know what I'm doing. It's like your idiot friend in New Orleans who's like, love me for my zaniness, but I'm really well read.
I know. Yeah, no. I mean, and nothing's original about any of this is the bigger problem, too, right? Is that it's all like a quest for originality based on nothing. Like, right. I'm going to pick some original things that you have to call me, and that's now what's unique about me. Instead of just being unique or having something unique or doing something, Or even worse, what if you are unique and nobody notices?
Exactly. Well, that's the whole point, isn't it? That's why, I was thinking of that today. That's why, I think we mentioned this the other day,
That's people like that's nightmare.
Right, but it's also why, we've been talking about all the racism stuff because of Tony Maz and this and that and race. And why, if race and human rights were the issue, were the core, and were at the core of the mission of these institutions, of these people, of academia, of good progressives, well, you're right. There wouldn't be any more FDR statues.
Of course.
But it's FDR who's at the core. Race is just a way to get there.
Right.
So that's it. FDR, nationalize everything.
No, it's the socialism that's the important part. And I was looking through because the anniversary of the executive order by which they incarcerated basically a bunch of Japanese Americans during World War II, which is incredible to think they did that by executive order. But that was upheld by 6 Supreme Court justices, all of whom were appointed by FDR. Every single one, not just by people in his party or other, but like every single one was appointed by him of the people who approved that decision. And all of them continued to be big progressives the rest of their lives. One of them apparently regretted it later on, but like for the most part, no. And it's incredible to think that, that the practical effects of their ideology are that malleable. Like you said, it's not about the race. It's about the expansion of government and the socialism and all this stuff. And like race is just a way to get there. And the Progressive Project is not about the results it gives to people. They're willing to sacrifice any result. They're willing to lock people up based on race to get the good result they think they should get to. It's always the ends justifies the means with them, Yes. So all of these things, race, justice, a better life, fairness, good wages, equity, all these things, like all of that can fall by the wayside as long as they think they're making their omelet, they can keep cracking the eggs, and it's fine with them. And they'll never say sorry. That's the problem with progressives is they never have to say sorry because they always meant well. And they were always thought they were right at the time, so it's fine with them.
Well, right. They always meant well, and or they were not given the resources to realize their dream.
Right, of course.
Why they just need a little more.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of that, Bloomberg's Jordan Fabian asked about the search for Fed Vice Chair Karine Jean-Pierre today. And this right here, this is the core. This is how you know you've got a believer in the journey.
By the way, I'm getting asked where in Wakefield we're going tonight in the chat. Shall I throw it in the chat?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Here's Karine Jean-Pierre.
On the search for Fed Vice Chair, can you?
By the way, it should be known that we're early people, so we don't.
Yeah, we're not going to be out late.
Yeah.
On the search for Fed Vice Chair, can you talk about the decision-making process there with regard to?
Well, we'd like to see who's anybody who'd like to come in and say hi. It'd be nice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
I already broke I had 3 Taco Bell tacos today. This is just for you guys to know. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell, especially you know who.
On the search for Fed Vice Chair, can you talk about the decision-making process there with regard to how the president is considering diversity? There's been some pressure from senators to name a Latino candidate, for example. How important is it to the president to name a woman or a person of color to that job?
So I'll just first say that clearly filling that vacancy is something that's important to the president, and will certainly nominate someone in the near future. When it comes to diversity, you've heard this from the president, you've heard this from me, you've heard this from many of us here. Diversity and representation is really important to this president, and we are going to the president's going to look at a highly diverse group of world-class economists, and just as we did for the previous Fed nominations. So we're going to continue that process. But I want to take the opportunity to lay out how diverse the president's cabinet has been, how diverse the president's administration has been. The cabinet is majority people of color for the first time in history. The cabinet is majority female for the first time in history. A majority of White House senior staff identify as female. 40% of White House senior staff identify as part of the racially diverse communities, and a record 7 assistants to the president are openly LGBTQ+. So again, this is something that the president prides himself on, that he actually has taken action to show the diversity of this administration, and so he will continue not just with this Fed Vice Chair occupancy, but with any occupancy or any position that's within the White House.
This is a commercial paid for by the Donald Trump for President Committee.
I know. So, first of all, no way she had all that memorized. That was an answer written in her book, right?
Keeper, yeah.
So, what reporter asked that question?
Bloomberg's Jordan Fabian.
I mean, does that not feel like a weirdly set up question?
It does, yeah.
I mean, like...
Bloomberg's Jordan Fabian knows how to get another question in. Yeah, I mean, if that's not exactly...
How important is diversity to the Biden administration? Well, now that you mention it, there's a lot of things we don't do well, but diversity, that we do well.
We've made sure to try to avoid some of the brightest white minds out there. We assure you.
Yeah.
We have sidestepped, and thank goodness.
Don't
We've dodged
worry.
several bullets and having some competent people around.
Your train derailments and everything else will be brought to you by a very diverse group of people. Inflation, diverse people will answer questions on inflation for you. All of those things. I mean, this is fundamentally like the most unserious administration I've ever heard of. Like Pete Buttigieg is like the biggest joke in the world.
At one point today, Buttigieg is standing up next to a piece of. He's standing with all the engineers wearing his orange bib, and they're saying, "Oh, this train has whatever hydroglyceride or whatever from this other train," and he goes, he asks about another train, but listen to the flippant way he asks about another train that he points to next to him. Listen to this.
What's this guy right here?
That was one of the cars that was in a derailment. Not 100% certain on the product in it, isobutylene.
But just think about it. Listen to it again.
What's this guy right here?
This guy right there is a big train car that is filled with dangerous stuff like the rest of these that now fill the rivers and skies around here. What's this guy right here? What's this little tiger over there? It's so incredible to me.
But it's such like consultant speak too, because he's such a McKinsey animal. You know, that's like the way, because I've worked at companies where you've had like McKinsey people or like venture capital type of people that like buy up the company and then they decide they're going to like find all the operational efficiencies to like help you be better because they're like super smart, big brains, and like they know how to run your business. So they come in and they're like, so how does this work? And they like have all this smart stuff to say, they believe. But it's so typical of people like that to think that they can come in and fake it till they make it and pretend to know what the train derailments. Pete Buttigieg knows nothing about transportation whatsoever.
Well, right,
but he assumes because he's Mr. Super Smart McKinsey guy that he can just come in and
I think it's worse.
Figure it all out.
Yes, I agree with that, but I think that he finds the situation and where he is. First of all, he's there reluctantly. He finds it incredibly déclassé to be around the broken trains and men in hard hats, and I think that he was so damn bored with the situation and having to talk to these, like, jeans wearing, though some are engineers, like these kind of dullards working people, that he just simply had to amuse himself in the situation and be whimsical in a situation that is not whimsical. It's deadly serious for many people. Trains and destruction. But he's bored.
Well, and he doesn't know anything about it,
right.
Which is why he's bored by the people who are there who actually know what's going on.
Say, what's this guy over here? Well, that guy, sir, there's nothing like funny. There shouldn't be something funny, but he can't help himself because he's freaking so turned off by this situation. And also, if he's got to ask questions, if he needs to know what that guy is over here, well, then that means he's now gleaning information that he could only get from being standing next to that guy over there, which means that if he needs to be getting that information, then he needed to be getting that information 3 weeks ago.
Right. Right. And the other piece of it is, so I did hear that he pinned the blame on Trump.
Yep.
Here for the deregulation. Well, like if Trump did all these deregulating procedures that made things so dangerous and bad and caused the train to derail, maybe you should have spent some time in the last like 2+ years putting those regulations back in.
Right.
No? Like, because we're now more than halfway into the Biden administration. When does it become a thing where your administration sets the policies? If nothing else, even if Trump made the policy, if you think it's a bad policy, you've now had more than 2 years to change it, and you didn't. So now you own the policy. You know, this didn't happen on day 2 of Secretary Pete's tenure.
Well, right. And so when Trump goes over there and he gets in the news cycle and they say, oh, photo op's going to do some kind of photo op. It's like, yeah, he's going to do some kind of photo op. Because you morons screwed this entire thing
Tonight
up.
we are learning.
Hold on 1 second. I just want to try to queue up to the Buttigieg part.
The mayor says too much is still disrupted.
It's part of this news.
Former President Donald Trump brought support, water, some of it Trump brand, and criticism he's there before key Biden officials.
When I announced that I was coming, They changed their tune.
Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg plans to be in East Palestine Thursday. He questions Trump's presence.
Look, I don't know exactly what he's planning to do there, especially since his administration was anti-regulation and pro-industry every step of the way.
So there you go. What is he planning to do there? He shouldn't do anything there. Well, he's planning to do there, Pete, is getting news cameras to cover him there because you're not there. And because he said, I don't know what he's planning to do there. Well, his Democratic presidential rival should be doing that.
Right.
And since he's not doing that, Trump's lizard brain knows that's earned media. That's a huge big hit.
Well, right. And, by the way, people like being visited by people.
Well, right. And Trump likes to visit people. I had a great caller today. It's Rick from Cheshire, I think, called today, who said this line to me, which is brilliant. Along the lines of why is Trump there? He said, if the Biden administration was operating at a 30% better rate, Trump wouldn't have anywhere to go. He's totally right. This administration is feckless. So Trump sees all these openings. It's like, of course, he can go to the border one day. He'll go up there. Next day, he can go anywhere. He can go to Long Beach Harbor. There are so many places. He can go to where the Keystone Pipeline should have been. He can go to gas stations. He can go all over the place.
Yeah, he's the freaking president. So, or Trump.
No, Trump
saying,
is.
You're saying Biden cut.
Right,
okay.
because, yes, once again, the quote was, if the Biden administration was operating at a 30% better rate, Trump wouldn't have anywhere to go. But it's operating at a terrible rate. So they're nowhere where they should be. So that gives Trump this Biden failure world tour to go on.
Right, exactly. And Trump likes going places. People like seeing him, especially places like Ohio where people love Trump. One tweet that I love today that somebody made and I can't find anymore. Maybe it's gone or I'm just missing it. But one blue check was tweeting that, well, did Trump visit Flint, Michigan when they had their water crisis? But no, because that was black people. Now, why didn't President Trump visit Flint, Michigan when they had their water crisis? I'll give you a hint. It has to do with the year that the water crisis happened.
Was it 2015?
2014.
Was it really?
Yes. So that's why President Trump didn't visit during that. And that's why. But people have like weird revisionist history about Trump, the same way like they'll say like Trump empowered Putin or Trump did X, Y, Z. And it's like not Trump and the border when it like Obama only had a border problem and Biden had a border problem, but Trump didn't. It's like people have weird revisionist history because there was still stuff happening in Flint and like infrastructure being rebuilt and whatever during the Trump years still. Like people think of it as a Trump thing, but that was, well, not only was it an Obama administration issue, but it was all Democrats in the city of Flint as well, top to bottom, running the show. So, but people like now there's honestly people out there who like believe that Trump caused Flint, Michigan because it was black people and then didn't visit them. So
Else, there are people who believe, first of all, a good part of the country is quite sure, including Buttigieg, that Trump is responsible directly for these brakes not working. But there are people who believe that there's a parallel instance of the Russians pouring into Ukraine and trying to take Kyiv that happened during Trump, too, and Trump handled it terribly, and the Russians won. And they have this now as a memory. And now they just go to it, just in the same way that Tony Maz wouldn't have said that if those were white people. It's just a fact. We know. We've seen the tape of him not saying it when those white people. People in their minds have this false reality that Trump also didn't do as good with Ukraine and didn't help him.
The terrible Trump presidency when Trump didn't help Ukraine.
Right. No, so Trump would have been worse. So this is good. It's like, okay. What about the fact that you're having to make a movie in your head of the Russians pouring into Kyiv when Trump was there, although the Russians stayed in Russia when Trump was there.
Right, because they didn't know what Trump was going to do, unlike with Biden, where he's completely rolled over every step of the way.
Yes, because Trump never once talked from the White House press briefing room,
even Afghanistan,
about the number of diversity hires they have and how many record LGBTQIA plus PAC BIPOC ampersands they have, advising him.
even Afghanistan, they were like, when Biden screwed that up, they're like, well, it was Trump's plan.
That's right.
He just had to do it. It was Trump. Trump came up with the idea.
It's Trump's plan, but our historic airlift. We saved the day.
He fixed it.
Jeez. I can't believe I whacked those tacos out, Alice. Oh, God, it was so wonderful. It was so wonderful. Oh, God.
You shouldn't be bad like that.
I couldn't help it. You should have seen them, Alice.
You did do yeoman's workout in the driveway, though, today.
I did yeoman's workout in the driveway. That's true.
So,
I couldn't help
there
it,
you
Alice.
go.
You could have given me, but when she was in her prime, Emily Ratajkowski naked, lying
I think she's
on
still
that
in her
table.
prime.
No, she's had kids, Alice. Ugh, come on. Emily Ratajkowski lying naked in her prime a few years ago, on that table, or those 3 tacos. I would push her right off and eat those tacos in a second. My goodness, they're so good. God help me, Alice. I have an addiction. I have a literal lust for those tacos. I want more.
Speaking of DEI and the Biden administration, Sam
Rather
Brinton,
than DIET, right? Thank you.
Sam Brinton, who is one of the Biden administration's diversity
I'm
hires.
all in on Brinton now. I'm all in on Brinton. Who's just by sight, if you ever look at him at all, you'll see there are some pictures of him walking his dog friend, which is a guy he has bound with a ball gag in his mouth that he leads around playing doggy, playing puppy. But otherwise, if you see a guy like Sam Brinton, you would think that he is just simply a psychotic who needs to be in a room that's padded and needs to be getting a cup that's pleated handed to him several times a day.
Yeah, he's just a lunatic. And any normal person who looks at him would know this right away. So I sometimes wonder about like leftists' danger sense, that they like see people like that and they don't have any like red flag. But I guess when you've decided to accept every red flag as just, part of somebody's quirky personality and fun lifestyle choices, that you lose the ability to judge who might possibly be dangerous to you. But this dude is dangerous. So he's been caught twice stealing luggage, and he was removed from the Biden administration, women's luggage. And now this Tanzanian fashion designer who lives in Texas has noticed that she had luggage go missing in 2018, and she's noticed that he's been photographed in a bunch of pictures, including at major events, including like in Vanity Fair articles and a bunch of places. He's wearing her one-of-a-kind, like custom-designed pieces that were in that luggage.
Yeah, not only pieces, but the jewelry too.
Right, and so this is, and I said this at the time, like, if you get caught twice stealing women's luggage in the airport, there's a lot more than twice that you did.
Well, I'd say
it.
there's a few things we can learn about you. One, that you like to fly.
Yeah.
That's my big takeaway. 2, that you like to dress up in women's clothes.
Yes. In a fetish way, not in a, like, I feel like I'm actually a woman way.
And 3, you like to be surprised.
I know, it's like a surprise grab bag. Although, maybe you notice who has the luggage, and you like their...
You mean on departure? You figure out watching who's checking what? And
you like their style. Also, I think expensive. I think he has expensive taste, and I think he's picking more expensive luggage.
He should have been a
bellman. I think my bag is safe from Sam Brinton.
I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, I don't buy expensive stuff.
Oh,
so we have like cheap, made in China Amazon.
What does he do with ours?
Suitcase.
Just
He
throws it
doesn't
away?
steal that one. He's stealing somebody's like fancy designer hard shell suitcase or something. Like not our junk stuff.
I saw those. I was on Amazon the other day. What was I looking for? I don't remember. But I saw our luggage like in the welfare section. So it was like clearance warehouse.
Oh, I buy all
refurbished. It was like
whatever. It's not.
It is unstealable. You got that.
Yeah, no, nobody's stealing it. It's very safe. My like tough swimming and diving bag, my like duffel bag that's like banged up and from 20 years ago, like all stuff like that. There's nobody is gonna steal my stuff. But Anyway, yeah, so he has good taste apparently and likes to steal women's clothes to wear them. But that to me is a sign that you're like a really dangerous person. If you're like willing to be that invasive for your fetish and it's like a strong enough pull for you that you're willing to steal luggage in airports where there's security cameras everywhere and you're like an incredibly recognizable person, like that's really brazen and I think shows that you're a dangerous individual.
I would say so. And
I mean, what else are you willing to do if you're willing to do that?
I don't want to know what his interest in nuclear fuel rods are, to be honest, Alice. I don't know. Oh, do you see the book, the Rachel Levine book?
Oh no, does she have a book?
It's a children's book about her.
Why? Children shouldn't even know about Rachel
extraordinary
Levine.
women in history. And she's right on the front. Yep. There you
so
go.
what? How do they describe her childhood then?
What do you mean? What's wrong
Like,
with
do they
it's
show
very
her
normal.
on the what's the school? The Belmont Hill school football team, or do they gloss that over?
What's that supposed to mean, Alice?
No, I'm just curious, like how they depict her.
Inspiring women.
Mm-hmm.
She persisted. That's
Wait,
right.
the She Persisted book's been out forever. That's like the Melrose Commission on Women was doing. It's like, isn't that by Chelsea Clinton?
Maybe it's a series. Yes, it is.
Okay.
She Persisted. Rachel Levine by Lisa.
Oh, it's
Bunker.
like a series. Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's had people. It's inspired by Chelsea's book. It's had Oprah Winfrey, Sonia Sotomayor, Greta Thunberg, Lisa Bunker, and now
when's the Amy Coney Barrett one coming out?
I don't know. I assume it's forthcoming. And now it's
Where's the Condoleezza Rice
oddly
edition?
enough, no, today she didn't persist like Rachel Levine. Can you imagine that?
When's the Ayn Rand one coming out?
She didn't persist, unfortunately.
Laura Ingalls Wilder?
No, not Laura Ingraham either. She's what? Sally Ride?
Sally Ride they might do. Sally
Possibly.
Yeah.
Sally.
Anyway, so that's probably why they do the book about her.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's good for young girls to look up to that. That's, I think, great. And boys. Why not?
Okay, Buttigieg today took a couple questions.
In retrospect, should you have come a little sooner?
So, again, in terms of the timing of the visit, I'm trying to strike the right balance, allowing NTSB to play its role, but making sure we're here in that show of support.
People who are trying to strike the right balance are people you should not be trusting.
Mm-hmm. Like, especially if the question is, should you have come earlier?
Right. And so,
Trying to strike the right balance.
But
No,
then
the
again-
question is, should you have come earlier? That's like a yes or no question.
right. Should you have come before the former president and rival to your president came while he was out praising Ukraine? I mean, that's what was happening. I mean, shouldn't Biden have been here doing a photo op instead of there doing a photo op? You would think. Doesn't matter because according to The View, and this is important too. This is important. My friend Joy Behar, I want a She Persisted book about her. She lets the people of Flint know that they're a little bit culpable. Not Flint, sorry, of East Palestine. They're a little bit.
Are we pronouncing it Palestine or Palestine? I've heard
I'm going back to Palestine. I'm going back to everything how
say
everything
both.
used to be.
I don't know.
I'm also going back to Saber-Tooth Tiger and Kiev. I'm back.
Lay down regulations for a second, because it seems to me that the Republicans are obsessed with this notion of the free market, and they don't like a lot of regulations.
Because it means profit. When you deregulate, you get profit.
But I know.
Part of the deregulation
for example,
was reducing workers,
there were very few plane crashes.
Hey, by the way, just one second. Why do you get profit when you deregulate? Is the business running better, unhindered, keeping more of its own stuff, and using the greatest minds in industry to come up with strategic, creative solutions, or rather than have some government bureaucratic dolts? Is that why?
Thank God. And that's because the industry is highly regulated. We have to pay for regulations and safety standards. Otherwise, where are we? We're all going to go up in flames.
Norfolk Southern gives as much to Democrats as Republicans. It's a very powerful lobby that is trying to block regulation. And this train, to Sarah's point, 2 miles long with 2 full-time employees and a trainee on it.
And they didn't even need to, because the last administration rolled it down to only one worker. They happened to have 2.
So there were 2, in other words. The last administration rolled it down to 1 worker. On this one, they rolled up back up, fine. But the last administration wanted there to be one, so it's their fault, even though there was one plus another one.
Like I said earlier, the Biden administration's had 2 years. If they were really concerned about the number of people on the trains in East Palestine, Ohio, but they're not worried about it because it's not clear to me how, until there's an actual investigation of this with a discussion of what actually happened and what could have prevented it, sitting here and telling me how many workers were on the train is BS.
Well, right. And plus, as if they're saying, as if this is so, the last 20 years, we've always known forever that there needs to be 2 people on a train if there's a big train full of chemicals, right? They're acting as if they've always known this. It's always been in their pocket. Well, obviously, 2. It was like after 9/11 when people wanted the pilots to have guns and everybody knew, no, you can't because you shoot through the plane and depressurize the cabins.
I always use the word depressurize daily up until this time.
One thing I just want to say is I do think this was an unforced error by President Biden.
This is Alyssa Farah. Did you see the top she's wearing?
No.
Check her out. It's Alyssa Farah, The View. We like this top. We like Alice Shattuck in this top very much. This is, I think every guy likes this top. This is a winner. It's green.
I'm going to go look for it.
It is a very scoopy thing.
Scoopy thing.
Yes. You look good in this, Alice Shattuck.
20 days before we had Secretary Buttigieg go down, 10 days before he put out a statement acknowledging it. Yeah. This is Trump country. He won by 40 points. He is a president for all Americans, I believe that, but he needs to show that he is. It was time for him to be.
I don't know why they would ever vote for him, for somebody who, by the way, he placed someone with deep ties to the chemical industry in charge of the EPA's Chemical Safety Office. That's who you voted for in that district. Donald Trump, who reduces all safety.
Is that person who reduces all safety? Donald Trump, who reduces all safety. I love that so much.
Is that person that Trump put in the EPA still there?
I know.
He did a good job, it seems like.
Voters saw something on the ground.
He deregulated it so hard they couldn't put the regulations back for more than 2 years.
Right.
It was impossible.
But they need to look past the photo ops, these people, and say, who's doing the job here?
Yelling at them from the Upper West Side of Manhattan.
Forget about the photo op.
Showing up is a big thing.
I think this is Donald Trump's fault.
There we go. I think this is Donald Trump's fault. You guys need to listen. You know what? He put the EPA guy who likes dirty stuff. Okay, you see?
Republicans love chemicals. That's what you voted for.
Can you imagine just yelling at these people now? They should think about it. They should think about it. My goodness, part of this I wanted to say.
Who, by the way, he placed someone with deep ties to the chemical industry in charge of the EPA's Chemical Safety Office. That's who you voted for in that district. Donald Trump, who reduces all safety. He did in those days.
Showed up at McDonald's and those voters saw something on the ground that probably resonates in a way that they need.
But they need to look past the photo ops. These people.
They're looking past the photo ops and saying, this guy's here. The other guy who's not here was responsible for making sure we didn't have a mushroom cloud in this city before. This guy had no mushroom clouds, and this guy is here giving us water. That's what they're looking past. They're not drinking the photo ops. They're drinking the water that Trump brought.
Right. And the whole thing where it's like, oh, Trump did. At some point, you have to assume responsibility because no matter what Trump did when he was president and no matter who the people voted for, the train didn't explode in their backyard under Trump, and it did under Biden.
Well, right. And that's the same
so
thing.
Sometimes you just have to accept responsibility for what happens in your presidency. But Democrats can't do that. Democrats can't do that. I remember when I was in college hearing somebody talk about the Reagan recession.
Right.
And the Reagan recession and blah, blah, blah. And the economy started sucking under Carter. Reagan had a fiscal policy that allowed us to get out of that inflationary spiral. But yeah, it did cause a brief recession.
It took a couple of years. It was very painful. It was terrible.
And then things got better. You have to own your policies.
Yes.
Right? There comes a point when the policy is on you and what's going on is on you, and you can only go so far into your presidency. But Democrats never do that. Carter's never responsible for anything. Obama's never responsible for anything. Clinton's never responsible for anything. It's all like Trump did it before. Bush did it. It's impossible. Reagan did it. It's all like somebody else's fault every time with them.
What's the name of the hot sauce, Alice?
It is Chelsea Fire Wicked Hot Sauce. This is going to be the Chelsea Fire Wicked Hotline, brought to you by the sauce of the same name. It is a great hot sauce. Tom had some on eggs today.
Ooh.
It was delicious. You do not have to sacrifice heat for flavor with this hot sauce. Great flavor. Sea salt for the flavoring, so it's lower in sodium than is typical. They also donate 5% of the proceeds to the Fallen Firefighters Foundation. Great hot sauce. Go get some. Market Basket, Big Y, ChelseaFireHotSauce.com. And
Come on.
it's going to be the Chelsea Fire Hotline that's brought to you by the sauce.
Spinning.
And there's going to be voicemails played by Tom Shattuck momentarily as a part of the Chelsea Fire Wicked Hotline chat.
Spinning.
Do I say more about the Fallen Firefighters Foundation?
Okay, I'm
gonna
reload. Try this again.
Okay.
My whole reaction to the whole Maz thing is he clearly shouldn't have said that. When you hear it, you're like, oh. Especially when he goes, can they hear me? Yeah, the setup, and then the final fruits of the labor of all that. Not good. Not a good look. Oh my gosh.
I don't think it was a race thing,
it's
though,
just
necessarily.
hard to defend, It was the stupid what could be looked at as racist. Clearly, yeah, I can understand.
Yeah, it
Joke.
could be looked
it was
at
a
as
joke,
racist,
I know, but
like
not good. Not good. No.
There's nothing not good.
You're
Justin, you're
painted.
wrong about that. You would ask.
Well,
if
I
you're
think
on
it
remote,
could be
you would,
interpreted as being racist.
you could interpret it as that, but you'd
Right.
have to go interpret it and make assumptions that aren't
Right.
out there on the table. You'd be
Right.
introducing all
It's
of
a
them.
thing to say that if you thought about it a lot and wrote out your remarks in advance, you'd probably leave on the cutting room floor to avoid being misinterpreted.
Well,
but when people are speaking off the cuff, you say things in a way that
Yeah, but the problem
I
is
think
that we're
and
in-
I don't think he meant something.
The problem
racist.
is we're at a time now where people feel that could be interpreted as being a racist is enough of a case to just go with it. Yes, here we go. Give me the validation of effing this guy. Yeah! Because it could be interpreted. It's bullshit. It should not be, could be interpreted. It should not be the standard of proof we go by anymore.
Of course.
It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. And he's asking if he can hear him because sometimes on remotes you have speakers as well. Sometimes you don't. He wanted to make sure that those guys couldn't hear him because he was going to make fun of them. Because you make fun of people when you've got visuals with dudes in a couch behind a guy.
Right.
God damn it. Sorry, Justin.
Hey, Tom and Alice.
Hey.
Phil here.
Hi, Phil.
Tom, was listening to you on WTIC earlier today.
Oh, good.
And so, sort of related to the Tony Maz issue, about, you mentioned you were talking about crime and statistics and so forth. And I just was reminded of when I caught wind of a gal by the name of Heather McDonald. She's an author. She's a member of
awesome.
the Manhattan Institute.
We'll have her
I think,
on.
and maybe some other think tanks. But basically, she reports about the whole fraudulent narrative when Black Lives Matter got started, that the cops were out there just slaughtering young black men.
Mm-hmm.
And she uses data from the FBI. And just one quick example of it is that she mentioned that blacks make up anywhere from 12 to 15% of the population, yet they account for roughly 60% of homicides, shootings, and robberies. And why this is significant is that this 60% of these violent crimes represent the odds of a cop encountering an armed, violent, resisting suspect. And that will essentially predict their own use of fatal force when encountering such a situation. But anyway, I just wanted to request that you bring her on as a guest if you could. She's really informative. She backs the cops, and she uses the FBI's own data to basically shoot down some of these narratives that BLM has been spreading. Anyway, thanks a lot. Keep up the great work. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Phil. I love her and have for a long time.
Yeah.
I did reach out to her like 7 or 8 months ago, And she got back to me, went back and forth on email, and then I just haven't gotten back to it. But I will try to book her for the Burn Barrel.
That would be fun.
I love her. I think she's brilliant. I'm so happy when she's on. She's on with Tucker sometimes as well. But I hear her, or I try to hear her in a lot of podcasts as well.
Hey, Tom. Hi, Alice.
Hi, Phil.
Hey, Phil.
Phil from Attleboro again. And now this chat is the more important of the two that I'll be leaving today.
Well, we'll start with this.
Two extremely nitpicking issues.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, and Alice, although I'm going to be speaking about Tom here, you are partially to blame for not picking up on these things.
Correct.
As the uber-educated person that you are.
Yes.
Okay, number one, Tom.
Yes.
You constantly refer to any afternoon or evening time as prime meridian.
Correct. That's what it stands
This is
for.
an incorrect use of that
Yeah,
term.
it's incorrect.
Prime meridian refers to the Earth's 0 degrees longitude.
Phil, I hate to contradict you, but you are incorrect on this. I have a background in Palmordian science. I know precisely what PM means, prime meridian, anti-meridian.
This is what separates the eastern and western hemispheres. And just so you know, the 0 degree longitude or prime meridian is located in Greenwich, England.
Incorrect. It's located in Greenwich Village, which is a part of Manhattan, which we stole from the Indians, by the way, Alice.
Okay, what you need to say for an afternoon time is post meridian. That's where they get PM from.
No,
post
it is not.
or
That
after
is
the
incorrect.
meridian.
Incorrect.
Okay, so I expect proper usage of those terms in the very near future.
You're going to be disappointed.
No. Yes.
Secondly,
Incorrect.
you used the term today, I could care less.
Right, correct.
Well, if you could care less, that means that you still have some degree of caring.
That's correct. Yeah, I have some degree.
Within you.
Yes, what I'm saying is I could care less than I currently care. That doesn't mean I completely don't care. It means I could care less.
You care a little bit.
Yeah, I care a little bit. I'm being positive when I say it.
So it should be, I couldn't care less. So please, just lose the I could care less and go with the more grammatically correct, I couldn't care less. All right.
Like, Alice,
Thank you. I hope you act upon these suggestions.
You're
Have a
correct
great evening.
on both counts.
He's not going to act upon.
Here's the thing, Alice, is that when when we're making love and you ask if it's going good for me because you're very insecure and you want to make sure, and I say it could be worse. That's me saying it's not 0. You could try better. You'll get better maybe if you work on it. But, there's a level of adequacy happening on your behalf, on your part.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Shats.
Hey.
Hey, Thomas Crown.
Replica.
In talking about people being offended by things, I am of the belief that nobody's ever really been offended by anything. Probably 99% of all the people that say they are offended are just looking for attention.
Correct.
Or looking to get their next victim.
Yep.
I personally have never been offended by anything in my entire life. I don't think. I think it's all just attention whoring.
Yeah.
And I don't believe any of it.
Yeah, there's a currency in being a victim, and you can say, "Oh, look I got hit by meanness today. Love me more. Look at this."
So this Dylan Mulvaney person, they're wanting to quote unquote live their life as a woman, the womanhood, girlhood thing. It's a farce, that whole thing he's doing. But anyway, I'm surprised that this person doesn't work on their voice if they're wanting to live as a woman. And while they're at it, won't they just get a nice big size breasts, like an H-cupper. Anyway, it wouldn't shock me if this person's in the adult film industry within the next 5 to 10 years.
So he wants to get into Broadway, Dylan Mulvaney.
You know what?
I read
I'll
a whole
see
article.
him as many times as I've seen all the other Broadway stars.
He's always been into acting, but well, the unfortunate thing is Dylan Mulvaney, the girl, I assume is going to probably get a lot more roles on Broadway than Dylan Mulvaney, the guy, did.
Freaking Broadway, you'd have to.
But I think he's working his way through various surgeries. Probably he will do the vocal cord surgery and the. But I mean, so his face.
I hope he has exactly your voice when he's done.
Hi, Steve from Merrimack.
Hey, Steve.
Hi, Steve.
I got excited towards the end of today's show when
Steve, did you tell Steve where we're going?
We're gonna be. Do you want me to say it on the show itself or just in the chat?
Do you know his?
I think he's in the chat actually. Yeah, he is.
Oh, is he? Oh, good.
was mentioning pursuing some sponsors for his new psychotropic journey, shall we say.
Yes.
And I just want to put it out there. I'm not kidding. Okay. Mrs. Steve from Merrimack is a board-certified psychiatrist.
Ooh.
And she does come with a warning because she's not what you would describe as a conservative.
Okay.
And I think I've mentioned previously she has the world's worst case of Trump derangement syndrome.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can see it from satellite photos. But other than that, she's cute. She's smart. I think she'd fit right in. And I want some money.
Wait a second. Wait, aren't we getting the money? Because I'm the guinea pig? Is that not? Or we're paying? Wait, what do we do here, Alice? Close the deal.
I don't know. I don't know how it works.
I got us the hot sauce. I landed that deal.
Okay. You're our sales guy.
Oh, God.
You're my sales weasel.
All right. We got to hit the road.
All right. We are heading to Wakefield. If you're in the area, you can pop in.
That's how you know you've hit the big time. You know, they said, you could either do the Wilbur and sell it out instantly, or you could go to Wakefield at Harrington's. And we said, we can handle the Harrington's.
Thank you so much for listening. If you can't make it to Harrington's, that's fine too. You can join us on Patreon. You can chat in the chat with us there. That's at patreon.com/burnbarrel. But you can always listen to the show for free. Burnbarrelpodcast.com has links to all the different places to listen wherever you like to listen to podcasts. You can find video versions of the show on YouTube and Rumble. And you can find us on social media at burnbarrelpod on Twitter, facebook.com/burnbarrelpodcast.
C'est la vie.